Hello and welcome to The Weekender. I'm Manisha Gupta. Well, this week marks the beginnings of auspicious days, whether it's the festivities or the weddings for that reason. We get to you, the party cruisers who have been in the business for last 23 years. They handle the luxury business part in India and worldwide, whether it's the events, the corporate meetings or the weddings. So we get you the maths of the big fat wedding season in India with them. Zuzer, hi, thank you so much for joining us on The Weekender. You know, when you talk about event management, it is the big fat Indian wedding, whether it was the 1950s or 80s or 2017 right now, it's only gone bigger and better, wouldn't you say?
It's got a lot to do with the way the economy of the country is progressing. Obviously, as the economy progresses, the spending culture also increases, you know. We had a great depression around 2008 when, if you remember, the corporate spending had almost come down.
Right down.
But touch with the wedding still continued. So, you know, in our country, when a child is born, there are two things that a parent instantly wants to do is save for their education and for the wedding. So I think we are in the right business at the right time.
Well, absolutely. It's not just the weddings that you look at. You also look at corporate events. You also look at other whole host of things. As you said, sometimes it's multi-city, etc. as well. So how would you say, how is your business divided between these various events?
So mainly we are based in Bombay, although we have offices in Indore, Hyderabad and Jammu currently, and Delhi now. And we're looking to open simultaneously in New York, Ahmedabad and Surat as well. What we're trying to do is, wedding is one of the biggest chunks of the business. All the corporate events also is quite a substantial amount of business that comes in.
So Zuzer, tell us, how has it changed or evolved in the recent few years? Is there more involvement? I mean, as you said, the spend is on the higher side, but what all extra has changed around it when you talk pre-event, during the event and the post-support as well?
Even a managing director of a company, a big company, when there's a wedding in his or her family, they take time off from work to make sure that the wedding is completely focused on. So you understand how important it is for any human being, you know, even if it's a non-working person, but even as a managing director of a company, you would take time off. Pre-event, during event, post-event, it's a lot to do. It takes immense amount of planning. I mean, the first thing to do is to choose the right destination. You know, you need to understand your background, the culture from which you come from. What do you want to do? Do you want to do a destination? Do you want to do it in your local city? So that's the first step. So,
you know, you have worked with some big names. I mean, just to throw a couple of them, you've done Salman Khan's 50th birthday, you've done Shahid Kapoor's wedding, you've done Chanda Kocher's daughter's wedding as well. What would you say? How are things opening up, especially when it comes to India?
Everyone wants a piece of the pie right now, and the pie is India. There are a lot of multinational companies, ad agencies, event companies that are abroad, maybe owned by NRIs or even non-NRI owned companies who want presence in India, you know. And so yeah, it is, weddings right now is the name of the game. In fact, there are plenty of companies which are only focused on corporate segment who have diversified now in the recent past, also in the wedding segment, because they realize that at some stage or the other, the corporate spending also is a little budget oriented, it's limited, you know. Unlike wedding, it can be a lot more lavish than a corporate spending.
So when you say that, would you say that the competition in your segment also has grown? So how have you seen that? And also, what would you say has been your market share in the recent few years?
So we are one of the first players in the wedding segment. You know, we're pretty old in this segment, so that gives us an advantage.
Sure.
One of the USPs which we follow is we deliver more than we promise. Unlike other companies which promise you a lot more than they actually deliver. So that's been a USP.
So, you know, the important point is that this weekend actually kickstarts the festivities and the wedding season as well. Is there then a crunch on the infrastructure? Because with so many weddings happening on the same time, has it ever been a case that you couldn't find your wanted destination or your hotel or the caterer, etc.?
The problem when a day like this arises for people like us, you know, a committed vendor suddenly may work with someone else because he's getting double the price from what we are offering because it's that big day, you know. luckily for us, we've had some fabulous relationship with vendors over the last 8-10 years that we've been working with them. So we haven't faced that problem, touch wood.
Is there any other country, any other culture who gives a wedding so much importance, so much spend, so much time and money as we do in India?
India is number one in the wedding circuit. There is no denying that. And there are countries which are hosting familiarization trips, as they call it, fam trips, which basically take top wedding companies from India to their country, all expenses paid for, only to familiarize them with their country, the venues, the hotels, the opportunity of bringing an Indian wedding to that country. And that which I would say probably 5 years ago, if there were 2 countries doing it, today there are 20 countries doing that. So you can imagine how much importance Indian weddings hold to even foreign tourism in their country,
So when it comes to destination wedding, whether it's in India, what would be your best city of choice here? And even if it's a country, what country do you think offers the best of possibilities?
I would think Mauritius is a great destination. Cambodia is one of the most upcoming destinations. The people are extremely hospitable. It's very, very reasonable.
So those were the top countries that you laid out, but when it comes to within India, is it a Jaipur or is it a Chandigarh or a Mumbai? What is a favored city to get married in?
Rajasthan as a state, either Jaipur, Jodhpur or Udaipur are fabulous destinations to work with. It's palatial, it's grand, it's beautiful in November, December, Jan, Feb. The weather's outstanding. I think it's a great destination. Goa, in today's times, it's a 365-day wedding destination. So in the rains, you're restricted to doing weddings in big hotels, which has big banquet facility. But again, in October to March, you have open grounds. And Goa right now, the problem with the beach wedding is a little bit dicey. But still, Goa is still a good destination. There's a new destination in South, Kovalam. That's a great destination to work with. In fact, there's some pretty huge hotel properties as well. That's a great destination. I see Kerala as a good destination. You could do a small boathouse kind of festival kind of wedding you can do. I think Nepal could be a great opportunity because it also has easy connectivity. It's not difficult, but I think the tourism hasn't exploded that, Darjeeling, Mussoorie, I think, is another great destination. There's a JW at the Mussoorie, which is, I think, a great property as well.
So you have tie-ups with most of these 5-star properties as well when it comes to weddings and other corporate events.
So the tie-up basically is more as a preferred vendor. There is no official tie-up for all these destinations, but it's all about building PR and rapport with your clients, and it all depends. If the client wants you to do the wedding, then the hotel cannot regret that.
Hold that thought right there. On that note, we will take a very short break, come right back and talk more about the big fat wedding season and the business in India.
CNBC-TV18 Weekender